Did you have fun?
Oh, tons.
You look like it too. Snow bridge, snow bridge. Are you kidding me? Tell the folks at home what you think about this, Miss Wendy. Yes, I'm watching a squirrel eat. Okay, but he's going to go get our water. And we gotta kind of go down here a quarter mile, I guess. And we're going without our bowls, so we're risking life and limb for water. Yikes. And I'm going to turn it off because I gotta. And the chalet is up there. And the sun is really bright on this snow. I'm going with the baby step routine here, hoping to keep me upright. There's Heaven's Peak. It's getting shaded now. Actually, I'm going to take it. Oops. Woo! Voila, dry ground. Phew. And that's the Livingston Range over here. Okay, snap a picture of that here, too. And our beautiful glacier lilies. There they are. We saw a few fields of them. Great view on this little trip to get water. Beautiful glacier lilies. Such cute little flowers. I can see it. more snow. Yeah, it's just getting slick with all the sun on it. And here is where you can see how the trees get knocked down by the snow. It's pretty amazing. We've seen that in a couple different areas. That's where we came from. And we got to get down to like that little pump house area, it looks like. Which is not going to be easy either, but what are you going to do? That's where they told us to go. Whoa! Now we're looking for the spigot. We're going to filter our water. And then we take water up to the chalet to be boiled.
plant the day the fire blew up, and my boss drove me up to the loop to drop me off, and the loop trail was already closed, and it was just total smoking through there. And I'm like, I asked my boss, I said, well, he goes, well, you better run. He goes, through the fire, so I made a pretty good time getting up. You basically couldn't see anything. I met a young ranger on the trail. She was there to sweep the trail, and she asked me if I knew where the fire was, and I said, no, I have no idea. And one thing, as you can tell when you go down the loop, you can look where it burned. It was not a good place to be in this fire. So we got ourselves up here quite quickly, and my partner, Chris Burke, was up here at that time. And I asked him where the fire was, and he pointed out. Flat top, he goes, it's right there. He goes, we got work to do, drop your pack. We got one sling, or a helicopter sling load in here, and they gave us 2 Mark III fire pumps, which are really handy. They fit on a backpack, and they got gas can that goes along with them. They're pretty much self-contained. And where you guys went to get water, we set one up down there, because at that time we had a 1,200-gallon plastic tank up on the hill up here. And we charged this fire pump and let it go because it was pumping water. We left it because we figured the fire was going to get it, because when we put the pump up, the fire crested the hill line down here, and at that time we went down to the campground, and we got down there was people in the campground, they're all pointing at the fire and taking pictures, and the guy goes, man, look, there's a fire right there. You guys know? I said, yeah, we know that. You know? What we need you people to do is leave everything. Take what you got on your back, and we're going to go back up to the chalet. And we got the people moving ahead of us. Chris went and checked the pump again. I went up to the pump house up here, and what we had to do is I had to turn on a series of valves so we could get water to the tank at that time. And the fire really blew up at that point. It tore the door out of my hand up there, and you could just hold your hand out this direction. It was just glowing orange and very, very hot. And I got on my radio, and I said, Chris, where are you? And he goes, I'm on my hands and knees. He had a tool bag on his back, and he was on his hands and knees. He beat me back to the chalet. And what we done, they gave us enough hoses. We had 2 large hoses in the front of the chalet, 2 large in the back. We had a small one on the little house I lived in here, and we had 2 on the annex. And we set up another Mark III fire pump right by my house there, because the line at that time was gravity fed down, and with the Mark III right here, we could charge the hoses and really spray some water. Like I said, we had 39 guests here. Well, not all guests, but they included people from the campground, people who were swept from the trail. And we put everybody right here. We found out that 4 of them were volunteer firemen, which is a big help, because there were just 2 of us.
Yeah.
So we put them out front on the fire hoses, and we were in the back. Our big concern was there was embers coming down about that big from the fire because the wind was blowing. And as you can tell from the roof, it'd be pretty flammable unless it was wet. So we proceeded to wet everything down the best we could. We also removed any kind of fuel away from the buildings. We pulled all the railings off the chalet. The big thing was propane tanks. As you can see over here, we got some pretty big propane tanks. We put everything down in this valley over here. And we enlisted help of guests, and we had one individual. He was very big, very strong, and very powerful. These tanks weigh anywhere from 85 to 112 pounds. And you're kind of walking them and rolling them down the hill. He was picking them up and tossing them. He was really enthusiastic. I'm like, God, please, man, don't wing him down the hill. And he really did well. He moved a lot of propane, of course. And we got everything away, and what we did is we had people right here in the dining room, and we put tables up against the windows because the wind was 70 plus miles an hour at that time, and it was blowing ash and everything through, these windows and stuff. So we had the best we could, and from past construction projects, I had enough gauze masks for everybody, which really helped, because the air outside was just awful. The sounds you hear either from a tornado or a hurricane, and it was rattling the windows and all that kind of stuff. And it was scary for people, and it was scary. It was the first fire I'd ever been in. And we were in a pretty good position. Minuteman Aviation overflew us at one time. They had another load for us, and they couldn't see us. Chris up at Swift Current Lookout couldn't see us. We were totally smoked out there. She called us on the radio and said, "Where's the fire?" And we couldn't see due to the smoke and the ash and everything else. It was just blowing orange out here at that time. So we put up the best defense we possibly could at that time. We figured we were fairly safe because Granite Park does sit on a knoll. It's a rock building. The roads were wet. We had tables and everything up against the windows, so we figured we had a fairly good chance. And what we thought, the way it had come, we thought it was going to go basically up and over us and down into Bear Valley. And what happened, I don't know why, because the wind was coming directly this direction at us, it turned and went up over Swift Current Pass. It burned below the fire lookout up there. Chris called us and goes, "Boy, I feel like I'm a steak on a barbecue up here." There's enough rock up there, she was in no danger, but the fire was burning all the way around her, and at that time they evacuated many Glacier because they could see the fire basically coming down the pass at that time. Once it got dark, we could actually see where the fire was, and it had settled down to a degree, so we told people, we hooked up a propane bottle because people hadn't eaten or had any, relaxation time or anything, and we got everybody fed, and what we told them is go up to rooms. We assigned everybody a room. We had a list of names where everybody was at in case we had to go. And our only escape route would have been the Highline Trail. But it was also burning up Bear Valley at that time, so we weren't sure how long the Highline was going to be open. We told people just go lay down, relax, get this, stay dressed, keep your boots on, and my partner Chris and I, we took turns. One would sit out here and one would sit in the middle of the compound out here, and then we'd switch to keep awake. So we pretty much stayed up all night watching the fire. And this out here wasn't too bad because there was a woman right upstairs that every 20 minutes she'd come out to make sure we were still awake. So you were pretty alert out here, and then we'd switch off and she'd come out like a cuckoo clock. "Are you guys still awake?" "Yeah, we're still awake." Go back in and lay down and stuff. And the next morning we got the okay to evacuate the chalet, and we had, the guides were up here then, we had guides in the front and the back, and we had a list, checked everybody off the list, and they marched them out the Highline Trail, and we stayed. And what we did at that time was we wrapped the chalet, and what it is, it's like big rolls of tin foil. We put them over the windows and everything that we could get, and my buddy Chris flew out that day, and I stayed, and they brought me in a firefighting team from Northern California.
rust.
And this was underwater here?
All of it, yeah. This is all sedimentary, which means that it was deposited by lakes and oceans. Unbelievable, isn't it? Yeah. Before it was glaciated. Long before it was glaciated. And then it was lifted up. So I mean, it wasn't originally
Was it lifted up underwater? Was it like like in Yellowstone where they have those?
No, what it was is this is where the plates are colliding. So Yellowstone is close to a hot spot where those plates are colliding. But when the plates hit each other, one goes under and one goes up. So that and we're actually on the subduction plate, but the other one is pushing the soils and the deposits and stuff up. And so these mountains are actually growing and getting taller. Same thing with the Tetons. It's the same action.
I've heard that. I mean, I've heard these mountains are growing.
Yeah. So they're being pushed up by that collision, and then of course during the ice ages, the ice formed, and then it's cutting them down. Same thing happens with the Grand Canyon. The Grand Canyon was lifted up due to a slightly different tectonic system, but it was lifted up, and the Colorado River just kept cutting down through it as the Colorado Plateau was lifted up. So at the bottom you have rocks that are...
They must have, like, simulated videos of things.